All right, everything's up.
Everything's up.
Yes, sir.
Good. 5:01. Thanks everybody for coming tonight. We've got some folks in the audience. Yes. And we've got some folks, I'm sure, that's been watching this on social media. We were on the way over here and Debbie told me that it's what, 300 or so folks? Is that what you told? 248, about 250 folks. That's really good. Pretty good. And we just had good comments about it was watched by a person that's regularly here, and he said it was pretty good. Yep, pretty good. So, well, all right, guys. So, call to order the meeting. So let's go ahead and do a prayer and pledge, and if you would, I asked Mr. Raymond to lead us in the prayer tonight, and he's going to add a little something special to it.
Heavenly Father, as we gather together as gentlemen and lady at the meeting and visitors to make decision for our district, fire district number 3, and we want to make decision in your name, and we pray that you guide us and make a decision to protect our community. We also ask that you guide our firemen as they are out in the field, protect them as they protect our citizens and their property. Thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Better do. Okay. Oh, geez. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Good. Thank you. I learned yesterday, and I'm not at liberty to give out any details to it, but I learned yesterday that one of our own has developed an illness pretty significant, and he's going to be missing work. I guess starting immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I'm sure things will come out over time, but we need to ask him before I say who it is and that type of thing. So just keep in mind, we do have a guy out there and he's hurting. So, think about him, think about our folks and, keep them in your prayers and whatnot. Yes. All right, roll call. Mr. Ricks.
Here.
Mr. Cavanagh.
Yeah.
Mr. Baptiste.
Here.
Mr. Jacks.
Here.
Okay. And myself, maybe I should have waited. Didn't score in. Right off the bat, guys, I need to do a change in the agenda. Now I'll have to go to the legal on this. Do we have to have a motion to make a change?
Yes.
All right, so what I'm wanting to do is under new business, I want to combine items numbers 1 and 2. They're essentially the same, one feeds into the other. And it's really, would just make things kind of cumbersome if we try to deal with them separately. It would almost like introducing the same thing twice. So I would like to get a motion, if we could, to, under new business, items 1 and 2, to combine them.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add that we also, under old business, table item 4 because we have not received the information on it yet.
You want to do, so we can do under item 4, we have information on 2 of the 3. Would we want to hold off on the whole thing and just try to attack it as one big resolution later?
It's a record-keeping resolution, so it just has to be signed into the record.
Okay,
But we don't have any update on number 2, nor do we have an update right now for number 4.
okay, so then we'll go ahead and table that.
Yeah, the insurance renewal is not technically due to June 15th. I was pressing them early to try to get it in early,
Okay,
but as we sit here today, we don't have it.
okay, so that one we'll table to the information is available,
Right.
hopefully to be next month. And then we do have another where we get into the ambulance billing practices, that's all under old business. Have we heard anything back from Coronas about, so he's still working on let's see, what she's doing, the aging, what items are aged, so we have an option there, we could table that, do we have everything?
Until you have information to
For
review.
all of, we got 2 of the 3, but not all.
Correct.
So what would be, so let's do this, can we get a motion to go ahead and, change the, new business item 1 into, and combine them into 1? And then let's go ahead, and the insurance one would have been resolution,
Correct.
what's the resolution, remember?
15, 20, 25,
Yeah,
15.
and we'll table that one until next month, and then we'll deal with the Corona's billing when it comes to it.
Correct.
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Let's vote.
Uh,
Aye. Any opposed? I hear none, so the motion carries, so we'll make the changes to the agenda. All right, approval of the minutes.
we accept the minute.
We have a motion to accept the minutes of March 12th. Do we have a second on that? We have a second, so it opens thing up for discussion. Do we have any discussion concerning the minutes? No. I hear none. Okay, so all in favor of accepting the minutes of March 12th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none, so the minutes of March 12th, 2025 have been accepted. Brings us to employee recognition.
Yes, sir. Just briefly, we have a couple new employees, new hires, Marquette, and is it Adeline? Yeah, it's Adeline Johnson, and it's Brian Marquette. Sorry about that. Both new part-time employees. Brian is 500 operating MT, and Adeline is an EMT. And Travis Collion, 5 years of service at Fire District Number 3.
All three part-time.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Did we ever get a fill-in? We had an employee leave.
We did. We have an employee that's coming on next in June. Who's finishing recruit school through Pearl River, so he'll be coming on board in June. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's cool. Good job.
We do. We do have some confirmations. We're waiting to tidy up some of their brass uniforms so we can do a formal pinning, hopefully at next month's board meeting. So we do want to make sure we recognize them, but we do. We want to make sure they have all the uniform pieces in order so that they can be properly pinned. And we'll do that next month.
Do we have a graduation coming up?
We do, I believe in June,
May 8th.
sorry.
May.
It's out of the towns, those are those, but 1800 at River Life Church in Pearl River
And that is going to be, well, what are they graduating from?
from the firefighter rookie academy.
Okay. And how many folks do we have in that?
We will have 3 that are hired right now, and the new guy Jason that we're taking on in June. So
Yep.
it'll be 4 of them.
All right,
So
good. Mike, you got anything else?
That's all of our employee recognition.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept the chief report.
That was employee recognition. We'll get the chief report down. It doesn't require no action about it. So you just give it. So, all right. So, last week, April 3rd, at the parish council meeting, Mr. Adam Jacks was presented to the parish council, was voted on. He received a unanimous vote. So he is now the newest of the Board of Commissioners for the fire department.
Thank you.
Do we know how long your term is? No one ever,
No.
did you receive a packet from them? Okay, so expect a packet to come from them, and you'll have to do some notary work to it.
Okay.
And it gets sent back to them. In that packet, it may give you some information on your term. It's supposed to stagger the terms. And they should assign you a time. If not, we'll figure that out. So if you don't mind, our
Okay.
resident legal counsel, swear you in.
Yeah. Welcome, Mr. Jack. So if you could repeat after me. I, Adam Jax, solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state,
and the Constitution and laws of the state,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties
all the duties
incumbent on me
incumbent on me
as a member of the Board of Commissioners for St. Tammany Parish Fire Protection District Number 3,
as a member of the Board of Commissioners for the St. Tammany Parish Fire Protection District Number 3,
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Speech.
Oh, good. You can vote, you can yell, you can do whatever thing you want. Just don't throw them at me.
Only if you have good aim.
All right, folks, brings us now to the treasurer's report.
Okay. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, in the checking account, which is the operating account, we had a previous balance of $533, $535.40. And we have debit of $366.8508, $297.8786, and we have a service charge of $200. Interest paid on that account was $1,318.83. Our average balance is $489,168.38. And our ending balance on that account was $601,921.45. Okay, and the sinking fund, the man checking, we have a previous balance of $1,624,163.69, with an average balance of $1,616,885.19, and an ending balance of $1,398,530.23. And on our sinking fund, which should balance above 1,500, we have a balance of $1,511.42. And that's concluded my report.
I got some things I'll share, and so if you have something that you wanted to point out,
Correct.
so go ahead and.
If you're turning to page 1 of 3 of your receipts and disbursements, March budget performance report, this is just a couple technical things. If you look on page 1, number 5, where it says ad valorem inventory tax of $770,000, that is technically collected in our ad valorem total tax, which year to date is $2,700,000 and a little bit of change. So we're not going to collect a separate $770,000. So if we amend the budget, which we will have to do as part of the legislative auditor's requirements, you will see that we had a 4.159 million budget. With the reduction of that 770,000, we're at 3,388,000. However, our total budget projected expenditure is 3,369,000. So we're still 19,500 to the good. We're just not going to collect that 770 because that will send separate checks for each line item of ad valorem tax. The other big thing is if you look at page 53, page 2, line 53, you'll see our total payroll expenses at 28%. We're 25% through the year. We knew January and February were a little front end loaded, so no concern for that. And if you look at line 107 on page 3, our total disbursements are 30.81% for 25% of the year, but we've already made our bond payment and some other things that are front end loaded that should trend out closer to actual percentages the deeper we get into the year.
So that correct itself as Tom did that.
Correct. That would conclude.
So you're good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, I got an email from Hancock Whitney last week, and, basically letting us know that one of our treasury bills was maturing and it matured on, 4/8. We opened those up in the beginning of the year, if you recall. Our initial investment on that treasury was 249,532.40. It matured with, 251,000 even, so it gives us a nice gain of, $1,467.60. I checked with Ms. Teresa. She said her funds, her operating funds are doing just fine. So I instructed Hancock Whitney simply to roll it. And, so we rolled it over. We rolled at 251,000 into another T-bill with a maturity date of October 2nd. We was able to get the interest rate of 3.95, and so our expected return on it should gain us about another $4,700. So we did good. We making a little money, making money with our money. All right. And so concludes the treasurer report. We have some additional information. So I need a motion to accept the treasurer's report. So we have a motion. Do we have a second? So we have a second to accept it. Any further discussion on the treasurer's report? I hear none. So all in favor of accepting the treasurer's report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. So the motion carries. Chief.
Yes, sir.
all on you.
Our year-to-date calls, 468 items, for the month of March, 132 items. 100% ambulance coverage. We had two med units up 100% of the time for the month of March. PIL, we are hoping, very positively hoping that, by tomorrow, by Friday, I will be mailing off our USB flash drive with all of our PIL information to Mr. Kenny Weber so that he can, review that and we can move forward with the PIL process. So Mark and Gilead have been working feverishly to make sure all of our information is accurate. He's the math guru, so he's been doing a lot of percentage and stuff like that, making sure everything is accurate as far as our run times, our call response times, number of employees, and all the million other questions that they ask from us. So hopefully we'll get that sent off either tomorrow afternoon, latest sometime Friday morning.
And then when will you get anything back from them?
So he says he's got a couple he's backed up on, so it could be up to 3 months before we even move to the next part of the process. He'll meet with us, discuss the information that we gave him. We'll schedule a water shuttle operation with him at some point. So there's still a lot that goes into
The
the process. Yes, sir. Yep. First due, that's our reporting system that we are introducing. I just want to update y'all on that. A lot of that is kind of taken the back burner with PIL being a priority. So once we wrap that up this week, we'll then move on to first due and get that rolling, get some of those modules that we want. Prioritize some of the modules. And
I'll
get all that.
respond to it.
I think it's going to be positive. I don't know that they've got a lot of there's one aspect of it, the responder portion where we get our pages through our phones. They all have access to that now. I haven't heard anything bad. And that's really the only module they've gotten really full with. They do access our report module just to get some times. But I don't know that they've really got a full experience of the software. I think it's going to be good. There's a lot of improvements from what we're used to. So it's just a lot of setup process too. There's a lot to set up. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna let them do it next week. Ongoing.
I can add to it, and Michael knows that I'm far from having any technical expertise in this stuff. And I got her on my phone, and I get a call, see the call, I can open it up, and I can read what's going on. And so if that tells you the ease of it, for me to be able to go in there and do it's pretty easy. I don't think I can mess anything up then.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So, and the goal of that is to have everything under one umbrella. We'll have our reporting system, EMS reporting, investigations, everything under one system. Whereas right now we're kind of using different vendors for scheduling and such. So we look forward to that. I know Jim probably looks forward to one username and password, so I think we'll all be excited about it. And hopefully, I don't want to set a deadline, but hopefully sooner than later, we can start putting some of these modules back out. That is my update. I think Mark has some training updates. We got some training.
I will notice that you guys have got another dumpster.
We did. We do have a dumpster at 32. We continue to throw out the old stuff. Jim's kind of taken on that lead, so throwing stuff that is absolutely worthless to us and to anybody else is going in the garbage. We do have stuff at some point we're going to come to y'all to surplus. So once we get,
I think we're gonna take care of some of that tonight.
okay, just a few things I know are on the agenda, but we have a lot of other equipment, stuff like that, that still has some sort of value. So we will be bringing that to y'all at some point. But we've got that dumpster filled up. We may have one room for one more dumpster. But we've got so much junk. It's, yeah, we look like that show orders.
Time of the year to do it.
Yeah,
Spring cleaning.
We are making room and cleaning out stuff, and Jim's kind of headed that up, so I appreciate all that.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Yeah, then,
So I think Mark's got a few little training updates he's gonna throw at us.
All right, so all firefighters were able to complete drill tower trainings in March. Operator Albertson completed and passed his instructor one. Me and Assistant Chief Gilliard passed our office support test. This Saturday we'll be participating at the rec center for the Easter event. We'll probably have the smoke trailer out there. Somebody should be dressed as the rabbit. Like we did that. Let's see. On April 22nd, we're gonna be hosting Feta at Station 32 for 1800.
Federal.
It's Fire Emergency Training Association. It's like the old LSU
All right.
set up, so they have all the training props. They're gonna be burning the Class A burn trailer.
Oh, wow.
And so everybody's full timers are gonna be there, part time.
And when is it?
So it's not that old flashy old.
No, but it's close to it. It's more or less like they can treat it as such, but it'd be more or less doing search, rescue, demolitions.
They'll do that. You
When is
can
that?
buy some more.
April 22nd at 1800 Station 32. And in the future, we'll try to continue to schedule, different props. We haven't done that since I started, so I'll try to bring that back. That's free of charge. That's another big plus. And then the last thing, just again, May 8th is the graduation for the Rookie Academy, 1800 at River Life Church in Pearl River. That's all I got.
Yeah, and Feta has a series of those props that they can bring to us, and it really benefits us where we're smaller. We don't have the opportunity to go out and train at some of these locations away from the district, so they have the opportunity to bring it to us. There's a local training gentleman that works with the city of Covington who's going to be hosting it, so he's familiar with our guides, our parish, and things that we do in our district. So he's going to be able to bring that, and actually, I think it's going to be a huge benefit to our guys. And again, it's our full-time employees are asked to be there, and of course, our part-time employees. We certainly invite them as well, and hopefully, just get some fun and training.
Steve Billman.
He's part of that organization. Bob Hecker's part of.
Oh, is
as well. Yes, sir. So, yep, and I couldn't even say the guy's name if I had to. What's his name?
Joey Cassio.
Yep. So he worked.
Stuff there.
I trust you.
I saw it. Steve, it was scary. But yeah, anyways, we look forward to that. That's April 22nd, and again, there's the flashover trail, and they have full towers that they can bring where we can do search and rescue and everything in between. So we look forward to hosting them and having a little fun on.
Is there anything you
22nd.
need from the board?
Not at the moment that I can think of. No.
You said the 22nd or the
Yes, sir.
27th?
22nd.
Oh, 22nd.
And I think that includes all of our chief's reports.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's good stuff.
To accept the chief.
Thank you. All right, so that rolls us into the old business, and this is one of the items we were talking about in the very beginning about whether we want to try to tackle this tonight or put it off. So one of the issues that we have is the ambulance billing practices. And at the March meeting, we discussed ambulance billing practices by Coronas. And we agreed to further discussion this month. There were three items that we were trying to get information on. One being debt collection write-offs. Then there was the hardship collections write-off. And then the third one was going to be the standard collection policy and how long will they continue to chase payments? And does the payment structure change after a specific period of time? And that we don't have any information on. We've, Ms. Teresa has tried to reach out to them. And you said that they're still working on that.
She reached out to me this afternoon.
Okay,
She's still working.
so she's working on, so we could do a couple of things with this, folks. We could break it apart and address debt collection write-off, hardship collection, and then postpone standard collection policy until we get some information, or we could table the whole thing. I'd entertain either one of them.
I mean, we could begin discussion now, and if we can't complete it, we could.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so I sent you guys what policies, I don't know if you had an opportunity to look at them or not. There was some email that we got from Coronas. And of these three, the only one that is really, anything that I think would be unique is how they age their bills. And Mark, you had a question, it was kind of a ambiguous answer in their, or writing in their policy
Correct.
for a period of time. And we need definition as to what that means.
Yeah, their opening paragraph said after their frequency and collection period, they would move it to another, I guess, silo for collection. And we wanted clarity as to what is their frequency and what is that time period? And in that frequency, how many times do they actually reach out to the client for payment? So that's part of what Teresa's waiting on.
And that would help Tim forecast
Correct.
what money we could potentially see over time. So if he had that information, he could better forecast.
And the goal was, once we got all their policies, to have the board review them and then adopt each one individually, which would also satisfy your LLA requirements for, collecting the money.
Yeah.
And we let Cronus be the main agency for doing that on behalf of the board.
As you guys remember, the LLA, said that the only people who could forgive debt are us. And so, we can't assign that responsibility to a third party agency to do for us.
That's what we have to establish with this.
Yeah, so we know we can't deal with the standard collection policy because we simply just don't have the data.
Correct.
We can't talk about that. But what we can do is go back and take a look at, as an example, the debt collections and write-offs. And Coronas provided us what their policy is. And do you guys have those that I've sent?
Yeah.
Get a chance to read them? Really, if you took a look at their policy, just I'm speaking strictly for myself, I really don't have anything wrong with the way they're managing that, not chasing beyond the grave, right? So essentially, once they exhaust some insurance, they exhaust an attempt from the family, they pretty much go through the process of writing that off. The only heartburn I have with that is them writing it off. We had gotten in this pickle first part of last year we had a previous billing company that was writing things off under the direction of at that time, the administration. And it got out of hand. And over a period of years, it ended up being quite a substantial amount of money. And, you know, I don't, what we do today will affect 5, 10, 20 years from now. I want to start something today that whoever's in our seats today in 15 to 20 years has to start dealing with cleaning up this mess of a third party forgiving. So I would simply say, just for my part, that I captured them out, that if no response is received within 60 days of the billing statement or if coverage cannot be identified, the account will automatically advance to the St. Tammany Parish Fire District 3 Board of Commissioners for consideration of waiving the fees. Further that to say any remaining balance not paid by the insurance company will advance to St. Tammany Parish Fire District 3 Board of Commissioners for consideration of waiving the fees. We own it. It's our responsibility. That's what we said we were going to do when we took the oath of this office. And that's actually part of Louisiana's Constitution and part of Louisiana revised statutes is that we pursue the money, reasonable pursuit. And I think once we exhaust trying to get the money from the insurance and an attempt from a survivor not to pursue it to the grave. But our responsibility to wait.
Yeah, it's our I think we need to assume our responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, we establish the procedures.
Yeah.
You know, we make it all the same. You know, show the public that we have made the effort. You know, and then for the sake of our bookkeeping, you know, we need to put a finality, an end to this.
Yeah.
You know, at some point. And it will fall on our responsibility. As long as we set up that procedure, I am good with that.
Yeah, so what I will do, we don't have to vote on that tonight, so what I will do for the resolution, we're gonna bundle this into one.
What we'll do is we'll take the hardship and the death policy collection, put it into resolutions with those amendments. So you're going to engage Cronus on behalf of the district to pursue that. But when it hits either a hardship or a death level, they will report back to you as a board for the forgiveness consideration. It will not be automated by Cronus itself.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Eliminate that.
so what I'll do is I'll take what they've done, I'll make these amendments to it. I will bring it back to the board next month, and then potentially we'll have our information from Corona.
But I would prefer with board's approval that we adopt each policy as a separate resolution.
Mhm.
That way, if you change one in the future, you're changing that specific policy, not all three of the same.
Fair enough, so we'll do it that way, it makes better sense to do it that
Yeah,
way.
it makes sense.
All right, so the next one. Yeah, Jim.
This thing here, so you're gonna require, as us EMT paramedics, we're gonna, and just, hospital coders, and we're gonna get back to whatever. Get the next, we're gonna have to require some type of insurance from the family before we leave.
I would defer those questions to the chief about whatever processes that. What do you normally do?
We don't get any. It's name, you know, we have some place and other stuff.
Yeah, so it's,
They're looking to go after.
No, I don't think you're changing what you collect on the scene.
No,
This
this
is
is a transport. is
this
it
is-
not?
This is Cronus's obligation back to you once they process the claim.
Mhm.
yes, this really doesn't reflect anything we do as far as policy or standard procedure on
Yeah.
those types of calls.
Their procedures all would remain the same.
Correct.
Does it
Yeah.
put it up for you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kind of shove it off on him, but that's
Yeah,
policy procedure, that's his world.
this stuff's pertaining to the way our billing company handles, so not street levels. Yep. Yep.
Okay, so I'll make the amendments to that. We'll put a separate resolution number on it. We'll have it ready for next month's meeting. The next one is hardships and selections write-off. Now, that, we had gotten a form from Coronas and it was a fire district 4 form. So this is not a Coronas policy. Only thing we had an individual that contacted Coronas and they were asking for some hardship relief.
Yeah, I actually think Cronus has pretty much adopted District Four's policy.
They may, but they don't have a policy.
Right.
The only thing they got is a piece of paper.
Correct.
And so I come to learn that it's not a policy, it's a practice done by District 4. And if it is to be a policy of District 3, we need to develop that policy and simply instruct Coronas to follow our policy. And it's very simple. It's a very simple thing. And it's basically as I drafted it. If a billing company receives a request to waive all or part of an ambulance bill, the billing company shall provide, billing company, which would be Corona, will provide the attached form to the requester and instruct them to complete the form. The requester shall return the completed form along with documentation that the hospital the patient was transported to has also waived the charges to the billing company. The billing company advised to St. Tammany Parish Fire District 3 Board of Commissioners for consideration of waiving the fees. So essentially they fill out that form and there's tax information on there. There's certain things for evidence. But the kicker is that the way Fire District 4 does it is that if the hospital does not waive or give them any hardship relief, Fire District 4 will not consider it.
Yeah, they're letting the provider be the primary determinant if they are going to do that.
So, yeah, before it comes any further, thus, they gotta clear the hurdle of the hospital.
Essentially, you're using the hospital's techniques to figure out if they're deserving of.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I think the District 4 is piggybacking off of the direction of the hospital. And, you know, whether they discount the bill in total or in part.
Whatever formula they happen to use.
Right, yeah, but District 4 then has adopted that forgiveness in total for what the provider has.
So that's cheap.
Yeah. But you still need to have a formal policy to comply with the state, and this would satisfy that policy.
So I'll draft that again. If that verbiage sounded good with you guys, I'll draft it up for consideration and we can vote on it at the next meeting. That's good?
Yes.
Okay, and then we will then deal with the time as things progress into different.
Yeah, well, once we get the
Standard
standard
collection.
collection, we'll discuss that, and then it needs to be modified, not.
Gather the criteria to meet that is correct, what we need.
Well, and the reason we wanted the specific criteria is if Cronus changes their criteria, that needs to be a prompt back to this board to say, we went from a 6-month period to a 2-month period, or whatever the example may be for the board to consider.
Yeah. And we just don't have that. So there's no action, there's no voting on this tonight. What I'll simply do is I'll draft it. I'll commit to the board that I will have it to you at least a week before the next meeting. That way you could digest it and you'd be prepared to discuss it when we get into the meeting. Fair enough? All right, good. Okay, next on the agenda is the chief's exam. And so, Michael, how often did we end up people taking the test?
There were 5 total.
So it was 5 people and it was completed on March 27th.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I didn't realize that it was a practical as well.
There was a morning 100 question test, and then in the afternoon we came back and did a practical. Essentially, it was a letter, a complaint to an editor about a fire department and some of their practices, and we had to represent that fire department as the chief and defend our practices and our reputation and our statistics and basically write that in a letter form, which is normally easy to type something up in Word in maybe 10 minutes.
AI.
But they wanted it in pencil on a piece of paper, and so they're grading us on, I guess, the content grammar, punctuation, and everything in between, so.
And legibility.
That was probably my biggest challenge.
Okay, so to finish up on the chief's exam, so earlier this year, the Board of Commissioners agreed that a senior member of the operations be interviewed. The purpose of the interview was to find out from that senior individual what they thought the attributes of a Lacombe chief should be. You know, we got a lot of criteria out there as to what, generally speaking, a chief should look like, feel like, smell like. But, you know, Lacombe is Lacombe. It is what it is, and we're different. Not saying that we're special, we're just different. Pearl River's different, everybody's different. So we wanted to learn. And so what we did is the selection committee, which was myself, Mr. Leo, and Donna Vallette. She's a member of the public. And Donna is I think she's the secretary of the Republicans Women's Organization here in Lacombe. You know her?
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what her true title is, but we had the opportunity to meet with Jim and I liked, Jim put a lot into it because, he came prepared. He had some notes and stuff and we met with him for what, Jim, about an hour? Yeah, and so we walked away with some really good points about, what this chief should be. Still got him on my listing, but it was some of the things that Jim brought out was about making sure that this fire department is embedded into our community, to be a community fire department. And you really emphasize communication, inward, outward, on things. So we're going to take those when it comes time to do the interview of I don't know how many of those people are actually even going to interview for the job, but we'll find out. And we're going to blend that in with the information that Jim gave us into the interview process. So, Jim, I want to thank you for putting out that effort. All right. There's nothing to vote on that. It's simply just bringing everybody up to speed on the chief's exam and where we stand. So next on the agenda is going to be item, a resolution 2025-12, which is the approval of the VFIS renewal quote. It's the building replacement cost insurance and we discussed that at last meeting. We voted on it, we accepted it, and tonight is simply, for record keeping purposes, yes. So, we need a motion to adopt resolution 2025-12, which is the VFIS renewal quote.
Actually, sir, just needs to be signed into the
We
right.
don't have to vote on that.
Already was voted in this meeting.
Stand corrected,
As long as you need to review the written resolution, make sure it reflects what you did. That's it.
I have read it and signed it, and it's now in Mr. Leo's lap. Okay, so we're done with that one. We agreed to table resolution 2025-15, which is the approval of commercial property casualty and automobile insurance, because we haven't got our quotes back. All right, which brings us into new business, and this is where we're going to combine items number 1 and 2. And so what I'd like to do is introduce Miss Rosa Jacks. Miss Rosa is, I don't know the correct title, are you the chair or are you the president?
Chair.
Is the chair of our auxiliary sport organization and with the official name of Hearts on Fire. And Ms. Rosa is going to give us some briefing about what they've done between last month and this month. They've done a lot of work, and it's you'll be able to hear it firsthand. And this is where I need to cue you up about the $20.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Keep in mind, we have the ability to do payroll deals.
First off, good evening. I would like to introduce myself. I'm a relative to one of the EMT current recruits of St. Tammany Fire District 3 Fire Department. My name is Rosa Jacks, and I am the chair of Hearts on Fire Lacombe Fire Support here in our cherished community of Lacombe. A few of us in the last few weeks have talked and met as we wanted to bring back an auxiliary support group for the firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics of our local fire department. It is my understanding that in the past, Lacombe already had a group established of community members and volunteers. After meeting, we established Hearts of Fire and appointed a board. The members are myself, Rosa Jacks as chair, Ms. Debbie Hall as co-chair, Ms. Karen McKilkin as treasurer, Ms. Rachel Salinger as secretary, and Mr. Davin Navar as our public relations media director.
That's, you don't know if y'all know him, but that's, Miss Nona's grandson.
Oh,
Nona Navarre?
yeah, okay.
Yeah, no. Okay. That's her grandson.
So the board is made of supported relatives and community members that would like to help support and promote our St. Tammany Fire District 3 men and women. We have already registered with the state of Louisiana, the Secretary of State, and obtained an EIA number for Hearts on Fire. We're in the process of finalizing our nonprofit 501c3 tax exempt status. Chiefs, Hearts on Fire is ready to help you and your firefighters and medical personnel during times of need and support your team as a community. Community of Lacombe. If you are ready to support your local St. Tammany Fire District 3 personnel, we have a membership form, which I will fill. The form is set up for individuals and for households. For an individual member, and these are yearly fees, it will be $20. As a household, if you want to enroll your household, it would be $35 for the year. What you get with your membership will be, we'll have social media pages, so we'll announce community events that we will be providing within the community for our fire department. We're brainstorming right now, events like meet and greet your local heroes. Some of us don't know our firefighters who's who, so I will be meeting with you guys. We're gonna be doing car washes. Some of the stuff that we're thinking are car washes. How our firefighters perform car washes so that the community can meet everybody. Hold special events on their vehicles. Sure. We want that calendar. A bunch of fire departments that have calendars. We do not. We'll be selling food meals, plates. We'll arrange food trains for our firefighters and their families that need support. We will be doing food meal trains to help provide to the firefighters and his family during difficult times. Any fundraising donations that we receive on behalf of Hearts on Fire will be to support the department directly for special recognitions of the firefighters, holiday parties, summer barbecues, crawfish boils, things like that for our firefighters that we will be inviting the community to come out and support. We would also like to reach out to our local businesses in Lacombe for their support. If you're a small business owner and you'd like to support Hearts on Fire, we have memberships for those as well, different membership forms. So that way we can provide, once we obtain our 501Cs, we can provide tax receipts for tax deductions. Lacombe, this is the beginning of a community that supports our fire personnel. Our mission is to fuel the spirit of service by supporting St. Tammany Fire District 3 through impactful fundraising, meaningful community outreach, and unwavering advocacy. We are dedicated to championing our local fire department, strengthening public trust, and bringing our community together. One project, one connection, one act of support at a time. Thank you, Board of Commissioners, for letting me introduce a new and exciting group to our community and to the St. Tammany Fire Department District 3 personnel. From myself and the Board of Hearts and Fire, we are at your service.
Questions?
Yes, sir.
When and where do you guys meet?
We will be meeting monthly. At the moment, we are meeting here in the main building, in the admin building. We haven't established an exact date. We're still kind of figuring out schedules to see, but it'll be once a month. There will be some months that I will be asking Mr. Hall for the commissioner that we can come and speak to everybody and invite the community as well, not only through our organization, but for the commissioners as well to participate. Anything else?
Well, I mean, I'd like to make a suggestion, and put together a little bio about the thing and get some of the more of these applications printed up. I'd be happy to bring it to my church and solicit it and gain members. And, you know, that's what we need to do, gain membership.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that is our plan for tonight. A lot of the community doesn't know that we've started this. I know for my person in the department, I know he's been talking to some of his coworkers, his people, and some of them didn't know what we were. They knew what we were, but they didn't know what we were going to be doing. So I wanted to introduce ourselves first before we go out there and ask for money, and also to have the firefighters know that we're here for them, that if they need something, they can go to one of the chiefs, and then the chiefs would come to Hearts on Fire and we would be able to advocate on their behalf.
It's, this is a component that's been missing from the fire department for, I guess, some 20 years. When the volunteer organization, lived their lifetime, and, they did what they needed to do, and they got us to a point of, really didn't have it anymore. This has just been a long time coming. I do know, that in the previous, when it was the home volunteer fire department, the volunteer side of that was really big. A lot of people really came out to show support, both visibly as well as monetarily. I can't tell you how many times people would come in and say, I want to give you a donation of $1,000 to take care of my mom. She didn't make it, but she was good. You guys took care of her. You come picked her up off the floor and all that stuff. So I think it's a wonderful the work that you guys have done in such a very short time. We probably will maybe have to get Chad to help with the 501 filing. I don't know if if it's a C3 or whatever it
You
might
made
be.
a ton of progress already. I'm impressed with the finals that you already sent over. So, yeah.
So it's always frustrating. I watched them go through the frustration of dealing with the state's portal. And you put all the data, it was like you hit the button and pull away.
Yeah, start over.
Yeah, I think it was about 4 or 5 times. Eventually it's stuck. So, thank you, folks. Thank you, board, for doing it. I look forward to hearing more of the good things, and I hope that you would be part of the standing agenda. It doesn't mean that you have to come if you don't have anything to say, but you have a spot.
Well, I'm hoping that every month we have news to share
Well, use it as an opportunity to maybe listen to what people may need. Idea might be a way to glean some things. All right, so, maybe have any more, any more questions for Ms. Rosa? Nope. Okay, so,
Make a suggestion also, maybe putting the Venmo link on the form and whatnot so that we can
Yeah,
snap it on there and be real quick and easy.
we have our social media director is working on a QR code, so I just didn't want to come empty handed and.
They kind of gathered that.
and look, Davin's good. This guy, he does have a job, but for the longest time, his job was getting paid by the social media organizations because of the followings that he was able to get, and people were running products that I eat these crackers, and people would pay him caboodles of money. So he might do really well for us. All right, so part of the change is that we do have a resolution to formally recognize the name of the STFD 3 Auxiliary Sport Art Organization. Hearts on Fire, Lacombe Fire Support is the official name on it. And so I would need a motion to formally recognize that name.
I'll make that motion.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any further discussions surrounding recognizing the name? Okay, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So all in favor of formally recognizing the name of Hearts on Fire, Lacombe Fire Support, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I hear none, so it is now passed that we formally recognize that name. All right, good deal. Then we've got another item on here. It's St. Tammany Economic Development Corporation. And essentially what this is going to be an explanation to the board of an action that I had to take. So Michael, I don't remember the day, let's see, March 27th, sounds right? And towards the end of March. Michael had gotten a letter from the St. Tammany Economic Development Corp. And in this letter, it was really a contract. They didn't want to say it, but it was a contract. And essentially what this organization does, now they're not part of government, but they work closely with government. And their purpose in life is to develop economic growth in a particular area. And so what they do is they meet between potential company and they meet with parish government and they negotiate a deal. Okay. Very similar to what was done with Folgers. I don't think it was say Tammany Ergonomic did that. I think that was state, but it's very similar in nature. So anyway, we had gotten this letter from this organization and essentially wanting us to sign this contract to go into a deal with, now, I hate to do it this way, but we're going to enter into a deal with code name Operation Penguin, Operation Penguin. And for the life of me, I didn't understand why we had grown-ups talking in this kind of verbiage. I really didn't get it. I thought it was a scam, so I ran it through Joe Postada, and he said, yeah, it's a real organization. He just happened to be meeting with the head of that organization, and so we could understand what the hell this guy was wanting, really. So anyway, it came out to be a legit organization. There is a organization, a business that currently exists in St. Tammany Parish on what's the name of the road? Little Dixie Ranch? What?
Yeah.
Whatever you say.
Dixie Ranch Road, used to be a church.
Yeah,
I can't-
Journey Church.
Yeah, I can't tell you the name of the organization, but that's where the business is currently located at, and that is Operation Penguin. And so what Operation Penguin was wanting to do was they wanting to get out of paying all of the taxes that the parish would normally collect from a business. And what they wanted to do was only pay for critical services. Now, it's not to say that they're not gonna pay some to the school boards and rec districts and stuff. It's gonna be negotiated down, but in our behalf, what they wanna do is keep us whole. And by signing this contract, what we would do is we would not get an ad valorem money from that Operation Penguin. We would under the existing building, but not the new building. Okay, so, so what we would do is we would simply send them a bill. And they would send us back, that's what the contract was. We also was told that if we didn't sign the contract, we're gonna do it anyway. It's really, you know, my nature, it's kind of like, don't cross the line kind of thing. It really aggravated, so we ended up having conversations, and at the end of the day, so that we make sure that we was able to get the monies that were coming to us without a whole bunch of fighting and fussing and dragging our legal into things that we would have probably lost anyway. I went in and signed the contract. Normally, those things, it's the appropriate way to have done it was to bring it in front of the board, let the board make the decision on it and voted on it. But for whatever reason, it was the 11th hour, we were trying to figure this out. And so, there you go. If you could,
If you need a lawyer.
Well, what I would suggest then is, for next month's meeting, since the contract's executed, why don't you present the contract to the other members, and then they can just ratify the decision, and
we could do that. I would like to think that we could get to a point, I'm gonna press the issue to where we could disclose the name. I don't particularly want to do, ratifying the decision to accept the contract for Operation Penguin. I'd rather be able to talk and, as to me, if this was the right thing to do, we could say the names of the organization. So I've got the guy's card. He kind of caught me at the council meeting last week, and I promised that we would have a discussion. And so we will.
I'm just trying to understand something. This was a negotiation minus the negotiation.
Correct.
Yes. By a third party who benefits financially by generating the tax base.
I can't understand, I don't understand how they benefit.
So they avoid the tax base, and then the third company in Operation Penguin gets paid a percentage of whatever they've negotiated with the business that's looking for the tax break.
No,
Well, this is basically like an ITAP type deal where instead of them giving a total tax break like they did for Folgers, the parish put together a study for fire services 5 or 6 years ago. They presented that to new businesses coming into the community where they would pay essential services at close to a full rate of what the levied ad valorem was, but they would not pay the other levied ad valorem taxes either in full or at any significant level.
yeah, I don't know what.
So the perfect example, this has happened in District 1. Slidell, their total tax levy is about 178 mills. They basically were only going to pay about 35 total for that 10-year period for essential services, and then they would roll onto the books like Folgers has. So it is about organization. It is a way that instead of the essential services being frozen out with no revenue to offset your exposure, it now is going to provide a revenue source to offset that exposure.
And these negotiations took place between them and the parish council.
Between parish government agencies that were designed to bring in the business. So it is a formal structure without going through an ITEP type process where they get a formal tax relief or a tax holiday.
Understood. That's all. I'm just.
And if I miss,
But it was either agree to it or get a goose egg. There was,
Understand.
yeah, there was really,
No, he's looking at it from, I believe he's looking at it from the third party
no,
perspective.
no, I agree with that. But what I'm saying
Third
is that-
party doesn't,
Yeah.
to my knowledge, get anything.
But if we didn't agree to the agreement, they would have paid us zero for that time period. So it was, they somewhat had us over a barrel, but we're getting something for essential services versus nothing.
Michael, you
Yeah, it's
remember
win-win
10 years?
either way. So this way it's win, you know,
Well,
the way I see it. you know.
so we don't know what we'll get, but we'll get.
Well, yeah, we got a pretty good idea. We're gonna get a lump sum in the very beginning of $1,400. And then,
Close to that, yeah.
so the good part about it is so that they start paying as soon as the contract is finalized. And so they'll go through this building process that they don't pay tax. And they go through this tax cycle that they wouldn't pay tax, but yet we're still responding to the construction. We're still responding after the construction. The way this is gonna work is we're gonna get money the minute the contract is signed, so that they're paying for our services before the building's even there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You understand.
Yeah, so, and then it goes in to an annual payment. I forgot the amount. It's a couple of $1,000s, I believe it was. For 10 years, I want to say it was
I think it was I think the formula was 20% of what the actual levy from the fire district would have been, would be paid in that annual fee.
So, basically, guys, is that I just wanted to let you know what I did. I've spoke to each one of you on the phone about this, and I just wanted to go on public record to let everyone know that I did. And that, we can, do something more official down the line to ratify this, but I'd rather not do that until we can, gain a little bit of maturity and not speak in code. I think it's important that, people be able to look at the organization that's making this and say, that's them. Not a penguin. All right. So no action of the board is required of that. That would be going into confession. All right, next up is, we've got, Board of Commissioners Resolution 2025-13, which is to approve some surplus equipment and active donation of some expired fire hose. It's very clear in the revised statutes that you just simply can't give things away that belongs to the public. But in the Louisiana revised statutes, as well as from the opinion from the Attorney General, they do have a way, and it's customarily done for fire departments to donate surplus fire hose to another government organization. So we can't donate things to that wildlife refuge that's in Hampton. I think that's private owned. I don't know if we could give it to like Audubon Park. I don't know if it's public or private. I don't know much about it. But you can give it to like Wildlife and Fisheries. So if they wanted to take this fire hose and put it up somewhere to protect a boat or boat dock.
Everybody does with it.
Yeah, so they could do it. So it allows them to do it. It's a way to do it legally. And so, the only criteria that's in revised statute and from the Attorney General's, fire departments can donate decommissioned fire hose, but it's important to note that the Louisiana Constitution prohibits gratuitous, right? Which essentially means lacking of a good reason to donate, public property. So to donate, the department must declare the property surplus, enter into an intergovernmental agreement with another public entity receiving something of value in exchange. So we have to get something in value back from them and kind of research that. And all it would have to do is simply the boat bumpers was a donation of STFD3. That has a monetary worth. There's a worth to that. Yes, Counselor?
Yeah.
As long as they name you in the donation, you fulfill the obligation.
So, so I think we're well within our grounds to do this. We have about 1,000 feet of surplus hose that's been accumulated in an old Connex box that I think is now the home of wasps.
Probably raccoons.
Raccoons, Nate. So, I guess Jim is gonna be fishing that out.
Jim that's part of Jim's project. He's been consolidating everything to one container, and
Right?
1,000 of that hose has been tested and has been deemed not usable at this point. So it's out of service and it's just sitting there
Waiting to rot.
collecting mold and critters.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing, is that you can't use it. That's what makes it certain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. All right, so we'll need a motion to adopt resolution 2025-13, approving and declaring 1,000 feet of fire hose as surplus and donating the hose to another public entity.
I make a motion we donate, the water, unused water hose to an entity. Okay.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second it.
We have a second on that. Any further discussion on it? No, so let's go ahead and vote. All in favor of adopting the resolution, say aye. Any opposed, say no. I hear none, so the motion carries. Last thing on the agenda is a motion to adjourn. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, folks.
All who oppose remain seated.